everyone. Welcome to Maude's Book Club. This is Red Rising Part 2. We are talking about the whole dang book for the next 2 hours. So if you've read it, we are talking about all parts of it. We'll go into themes, characters, the ending, chapter 28, all these amazing things. There's been amazing discussion happening on Fable. If you've downloaded the free app, join Maude's Book Club. But basically, it gives you the book to read the first few chapters of to see if you like it. And it also has chapter breakdowns, which is really, really cool. So I have been writing my thoughts as we read, and it's really cool to kind of get everyone else's thoughts and what people take from those particular chapters, which is cool. We got a bit of a mod off happening. Shout out to the mods that are here. Lisa, Tass. Lisa and Tass. Semi-new names in the chat. Tate the Aussie, a big hello. I just obviously see g'day and my eyes are drawn to it. G'day. I am so tempted to go back to Australia for the 3rd time because LA's winter is shocking. Did not sign up for the rain. It started pouring halfway through my walk with Zelda this afternoon. Like, just pour. Did I have an umbrella? No. Zelda's a wet dog. It was awful. She actually was in really good spirits. Lots of lightning. No, I've heard lightning once. And I was like, wow. Lightning, thunder. I heard thunder once. Tate says, loving the sunshine in Adelaide. Rub it in, my dude. Did I feed Zelda? Yes. Yes, I did. Sometimes I get it right. It feels like rain every other day. I know. What are we, London? Ugh. This is so not fun. Anyway, we're talking about the second part of Red Rising. My gosh. Have we all rated the book? I've seen 3s. Vaden. I've seen 4s. I've seen 5s. Vaden, why 3?
I mean, I did say why in the F, but so yeah. So initially, I gotta admit, I'm inherently biased against sci-fi a little bit, so there's a little bit of that. But really, I had issues with some of the stuff that happened, like I mentioned the Pax's death. Pax's death seemed really, really forced. I'm like the guy has the strength to jump on top of his Darrow to save him, but he can't jump on the jack and just murder him. Like, come on, it makes no sense.
Just because Pax was so lovely.
Exactly, he should have lived.
He should have lived. I know. Actually, that's a really good point. I might just, you know what? I'll handle this. Pierce. You know, help me, everyone. You know what? Pax's death. Colon. All caps. Not cool. Sent. All right, that's on behalf of Vaden. Power, right? This is what golds can get you. No, what does that even mean? We got all the reviews coming in. Thierry, 4.5 out of 5. Aaron, you're giving it a 4 out of 5. Book good. 3.8 out of 5. Jimmy, swear to God, just stick to halves. Is it a 4? Round up. Why? We'll get to that. Oh, Vader 3.25. No, I will not allow it at 0.25. It's getting lower. It was 3.5 and now it's at 3.25. No, I will not allow it. Lisa, you gave it a 4 out of 5. Clever Girl, you've given it a 5 out of 5. Oh my gosh, Vaden's given it a 3.141593.565. Wait, that's not it. That's not pi. You started making numbers up. 3.14159265358. You rounded it up. It should have been 8979323. Come on, get 6 more digits, Vaden. Wow, I really do disagree with people's ratings and I take it out on them quite personally. So I've discovered. Hi, book club members. How are we all going? Too late.
Going well, thank you.
Doing great.
Yay,
Very
members.
I have to say something.
Say it. Where's your
You
score?
hate math, and yet you memorize pi out to like 15 digits.
17.
It doesn't make any sense.
17.
I mean, I love the dichotomy, but it doesn't make any sense.
Because it's like rehearsing a script. And I like pie. Thank you, KP Dubs. I like pie. But like, it's not I'm not adding it to anything. I'm not subtracting it to anything.
Yeah. In my world, pi is 3.
0.14159265358979323. I'm waiting to impress someone with that information one day, and it hasn't happened yet.
I'm sure we're all
I'm
impressed.
impressed. You know more of pi than I do.
Do you know what it was? Honesty hour. The whole, like, many digits of pi was printed out, and it was on the skirting board of my maths room in year 12. And instead of listening to the teacher, I wanted to sit there and see how much of the number I could learn off by heart. So this is a direct rebellion against maths is how I learnt pi. Does that make sense?
That makes absolute sense. You
It's
memorized
because
it out of
I hate
boredom.
math that I learnt it. Yes. Hi, STS. Lovely to have you here. Nura Sugar says, know your enemies. Coral Mac DSM is in the house. Hello there. Loving pi is an irrational response. Wait, there's a pun in there. What is it? Is it ration?
Pi is an irrational number.
Why?
Because it never ends. It goes
I
on
find
forever
that-
and never repeats.
It never repeats. That's why, yeah.
I find that completely irrational.
It's highly irrational, but okay.
Sounds like any conversation I've had.
There it is. There it is. So is everything that we say, unless I repeat myself, is it irrational? That actually makes a lot of sense.
Wait until Maude learns about the square root of -1.
Is that someone asked Siri that and she was like 0, 0, 0. What did she say? She says something.
It's magic.
It's literally I. It's
I like that.
yeah, the square root of -1 is I. It's an imaginary number.
You keep forgetting that the men in my family like math. This is the shit they talk about. I listen sometimes. Irrational is a math definition.
Anyways,
Hey,
4.5 out of 5.
How much did you give it?
4.5 out of 5.
Why did you like it so much? Because you like sci-fi.
I do. I enjoyed sci-fi, and the only reason I took a half point off is because I thought the first act was a little bit stunted, and that was just the way it read, and then it got much better after.
What could it have done different?
I don't know. I think I mentioned it in Fable, where I was saying it feels like all of the lead up to Darrow getting resurrected just felt like it was an afterthought that was written and then tacked onto the front of the book. And I was like, I think it would have been better if the book had started off with the resurrection and then all of that history and everything with EO and that backstory was filled in later as like a flashback while he's going through all the trials and tribulations of the Institute.
The only thing that wouldn't work then, though, is that he needed to know that his life was a lie before.
I agree, and then that's part of it, but it just felt to me a little bit stunted to me. I don't know. That's all.
Colleen, you've got thoughts that that's similar to another book that we covered.
Well, just what starting with the resurrection. If we had started with the resurrection, that would have been more like Black Sun.
Did you like Black Sun, Tim?
Yes, I bought it like 2 days ago, along with the sequel, and then when the third one comes out, I'm gonna buy it. I did like it.
You did?
Yeah, I was here for it.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Does anyone agree or disagree with starting at the transformation and then bleeding in the history afterwards? Or does anyone agree with the first act being a little sluggish or too fast or not hitting enough in the... Actually, Vaden, you gave it a 3.14. What did you think?
Okay, well, I kind of felt the opposite. I like the beginning the most, and for the most part, like I felt like it did a pretty good job establishing the character, and then going through that stuff, and then I kind of disliked the book more once we went to the actual tournament or the game where they started killing each other everywhere, and people went crazy. So I don't know. I've never read the Hunger Games or anything like that, so to me it's new. I wasn't super into it.
So
But
you liked the bookends. You liked the start, and then you liked sort of the last third.
Yeah.
Half. Interesting. Okay. There's no wrong answers. There's just answers that I will judge. Colleen.
I didn't. I can see how it was pretty fast,
Hmm.
but I think that they needed to get us into the story,
Agree.
and so they just laid some real basic foundation for us, and basically gave Darrow motivation. I think for me, a lot of his motivation was implied after that.
What, the fact
But
that he kept
then,
bringing up EO?
yeah.
Yeah.
But I also lived through the 60s where we thought we were changing the world. So I think I could relate to this fighting the establishment without, just because we thought we needed to.
So let's talk about that, because I saw your comment in Fable. It was from the last chapter where he's talking with Arch Governor, who's decided to take him on board. And the line, I've got the book. Basically, the Arch Governor's saying, like, come on, boy, we've done it every other time. Like, I won my match back then. I think it's the very last page.
Yeah, it was something about
No, it's not.
this is the way it's always been. You think you've changed it, but it'll always be the same. And Darrow says something like, not for us, not for our generation.
I've got it here. So if you've got the book, it's halfway through 380. He was saying, like, I've stood where you stand. I won my year, but loyalty isn't found in these halls. It's the way things are. And Darrow says, it's the way things were. I am something different. I freed the enslaved and I let the broken mend themselves. I gave them something you older generations can't understand. And he chuckles, irritating me. That is the problem with youth, Darrow. You forget that every generation has thought the same. And Darrow says, but for my generation, it is true. What was that like, having experienced a generation and seeing history repeat itself already, Colleen?
Honestly, it's been really painful.
Mm.
I sit here with, there are three of us old people here, and we just kind of keep shaking our heads and saying, what happened? We thought we were getting someplace. And now when I see the Supreme Court looking at 1800s for the precedent, and basically people who were burning witches,
Mm-hmm.
to look for a precedent for their rulings, it's pretty disheartening. I feel like kind of like the rug's been pulled out from under me. But I also see so many young voters, including some of my grandkids, that they seem to be catching the vision that we had. They're not afraid to take to the streets. They're not afraid to say what they think. And most importantly, get out and vote.
Yeah. It's interesting where it's like you tried, you were denied, and then the next generation still has that fight. So I guess there's like silver lining is that every single generation is willing to have that fight. They're willing to do it. And Darrow's kind of saying, no, like, I'm going to make the difference this time. I love seeing how Gen Z are obsessed with climate change. They're obsessed with sort of like fixing the planet, righting the wrongs, being more compassionate. And then, they'll get older and they'll be taught some things that gives up hope. And, it is very cyclical. Black Belt, you made a really interesting comment about the motivations that bothered you in the book. Do you want to talk about those? Because you're here, Nick.
Hi, yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I just felt like, I don't know, like the whole rebellion is relying on like one person to go through this crazy transformation and then like go through this whole scenario game to just get an internship at the end of it, to then grow and start a revolution there. It just seems like a little far-fetched that that's their big plan.
Does it have
I don't
main
know.
character energy? Because we do know for a fact that he's not the only hope, and he's not the only red that's gone through the transformation. We actually don't know how many there are that have gone through it. He's discovered one other, and that was Titus, who he killed because Titus's rage and resentment and anger towards the gold, he wanted to start from the get-go, and he wasn't playing a long game. He was playing a short and painful game, which cost him his life. So we actually don't know how many other people in there, apart from Mustang, who the Jackal, who are, you know their relation, Sevro, who you know the relation. So anyone else who's got a bit of a, or Cassius, anyone else who's got a bit of a sordid past, like there's a bit of a ... asterisk next to them as well. Vaden, you agreed with that though, the fact that it just seems a little convenient, and it just so happens that this one guy is going to bring down this entire society that has been functioning for centuries.
Yeah, like I mean, basically the group at Sons of Ares have put an incredible amount of resources into him. Like they're betting like it feels like everything on him, and he's not that motivated on him outside of like living the dream for EO. But he didn't even want this in the first place. He was only doing it because she died. That's really it. And he doesn't. It doesn't feel like his motivation is really there. Like outside of that, it just like that was super important. But if you hear him talk about what he wants to do, and he's not really that into it. He's more focused on his rage and getting vengeance and his arrogance and other stuff, insecurities.
Actually, you made a really interesting point, because what we knew about Titus is that the women in his family were assaulted. And so he was fueled by revenge, because he basically killed those that came to his family that did that. And then I think he was sentenced to death, hence being put through the system. So he was just trying to initiate revenge immediately, like pound for a pound kind of deal.
Yeah. Also, like he tries to spend a lot of time and causes a lot of mistakes because he keeps trying to like prove he's a better man. Like he keeps trying to prove he's better than the Golds, and doing so, like he let Jackal get away, which led to the Backs dying, and so many other issues have come about because of him trying to prove that he's better than other people. Like, not everyone trying to win necessarily, but just trying to prove he's superior.
You're
So-
right. It's funny because we're talking about Darrow now. What's really interesting with that is with the Jackal case, he's a man of his word. A Gold would have just completely gone, well, I said that, cheat or be cheated. Even though I said you could go free, I have to kill you because you're a threat. But Darrow was like, no, I said if he did it, he could leave, and he did it, so he can leave. And you're right. Like, could that have come back to absolutely burn him? You betcha. This is an interesting thing, because I guess the question that I have for everyone, thank you, Ono Black, for the follow. The question that I have in a way is Darrow likable? Wow, I can. 4 of you have your videos on, and I just saw everyone kind of go.
I wouldn't say he's likable. I wouldn't even say he's redeemable. That's just my opinion.
He's not even redeemable.
I like him. He reminds me of some of the firebrands that that were real movers and shakers during the 60s. They were not likable either. They were jailed, sometimes under some very, like you see all these people dressed in the American flag now, but there were 4 guys that one of them was arrested because he was wearing shorts made out of an American flag. And they said it was desecration of the flag, but it was just an excuse.
Patriotism's a funny one. Oh, Aaron, go.
I kind of like him for the most part, but I also think he's an idiot, just because he's a bit short-sighted in what he's doing. Like, he could have just played the long game and just taken second, third place, but no, he had a chip on his shoulder from the word go,
though, isn't it?
Yeah, that was kind of like the only problem I had with him. It's like, okay, you know what your overall goal is to like get high enough into society. It's like, you know, you're going to be in this for the long haul. It's not going to be something overnight.
You've just managed
This
to
is your
piss off
first.
every single person on your way there. Yeah.
Exactly. You didn't think too far ahead. You just felt like was said earlier, it's like he just had to keep showing he was the better man. He had to keep proving himself. It's like, you can do that in the long run. You can show that you're the better man. But
He's
for
just
now,
not
in this
willing
moment,
to play by the
you're just in
gold
school.
rules. Yeah.
It's kind of like the example I kept using for like the last season of Game of Thrones. Like the first half was just like fighting Voldemort as a comparison to Harry Potter,
Yeah.
and then the second half is finding out who wins House Cup. It's like your priorities aren't.
Thank you. Well
in the right
said. That's really well said. Because I was championing Game of Thrones. Tim, you're busting to say something. What do you want to say?
Oh, I just a counterpoint to what Aaron just said is the long game. Yes, he's got to make his way up through this gold society, right? But in order to do that, he can't take second place in the Institute. He has to win. Because that gives you the best opportunity to move up the fastest.
No, it nearly killed him.
Well, right, it nearly killed him,
the
and that would have
proctors
been
were
the
gonna kill him.
consequence. But I think he had to win.
No,
I
that's
think he
not.
had
It's
to.
not a consequence. So actually, no. What Aaron is saying is that if he played by the Gold's rules, he would have been unmarred. He would have been, he was already getting the apprenticeship. Like he'd already gotten what he was trying to get out of it. But he just had to go one up, and he couldn't let it go, and he couldn't bow down to the Gold's way of existing. Like with this,
He was too stubborn for his own good.
yeah,
basically.
it was definitely stubborn.
I do see what your point is. Like, part of him is like he has to win. He's like he has to get as far as he can to like get as high in society as he can. But it's like this is just step one of who knows how many. Like he's gonna have opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. This is just him in high school, basically. This is boot camp, and he's trying to think like this will help him win the war. It's like this is just a one battle.
But I will actually argue against that. The length of time that they were in this particular challenge, people were dying left, right, and center, and it did feel like this was the rest of their life. And when I was in high school, I remember every day feeling like this was all my life was going to be, and I couldn't see outside of it because it was so consuming to be in it. And I think with this particular challenge, Pax sacrificed himself to save Darrow, and it's just like this is just a test, though. It's like, no, it ended up becoming life or death in that time because it was dragged on for so long. Like it's 2 human years that he was in there.
I would argue though that with Darrow, for what his actual goal is, because everybody else there was basically that, where it's like yeah, it's life or death, something like that, but it's still school. Like this is just like orientation into the real world kind of thing. Like this is just to get you an idea of where you're going to be going in life. But for Darrow, like this is just step one of infiltration to get to the end goal, and he's like going too hard into it. He's not being subtle about it.
Yeah,
I think
I
that
agree
was
with that.
my overall problem with him.
I agree with that. Duga13 says, hello all. As someone who's read the first 5 books, no spoilers, it's important to have the perspective that this is very early world building and there is so much more character development and more dense storytelling still to come. I have seen in reviews, in a bunch of things from Pierce himself, that it only gets better. Like that this is just like the first book and it gets a lot better as it goes along. So, and I wonder if people that have read it, Lisa, do you agree with that?
Yeah, it really is kind of just like the tip of the iceberg on the story. The whole world expands after book 1. So, because he's no longer in this institution and fighting for his life. Now he's going out into the world and learning everything that everybody else has been doing. So there's a whole lot more world building that happens after this, and I definitely think that, book 1 is the weakest of the series.
Wow. And you were saying, because this is Pierce's first book, you forgive a lot of pacing issues because of that.
Yeah. I mean, you can kind of tell it and it's a product of its time. It came out in like 2014 or something like that. So it's definitely like the YA genre at that time is definitely that kind of book. And I feel like as the books expanded, the world expanded, and I think his writing got better and the development of his characters are all better. And yeah, I feel like I really like the first book, and the second and third I loved. And
Okay.
I don't want to say anything because I don't want to give anything away, but I love them.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for it. Avery, you were saying that we still don't know enough about the Sons of Ares. You've got a little bit of a bone to pick with the information.
Yeah, so like we're supposed to believe that he's doing all of this for this revolution, but we saw them for like one chapter. They like showed up and were like, "Hey, we just saved your life, and now you're gonna go on this mission for us." And then next thing we know, he's being turned into a gold. We don't know how long. We don't know anything about them. We don't know how long they've been around. We don't know what their actual plan is. We don't know anything, which makes me think Darrow doesn't really know anything about them either. So like, is he doing this for them? He doesn't know them.
You know what? I felt that the most once the second challenge was all done and dusted and he's got his apprenticeship. I felt that resounding, what are you doing now? Like, you just got through that. You barely got through that. And now you've like gotten a position where you can now infiltrate. Do you know what you're to do? And I also thought that like when he got inducted for the apprenticeship, you know, Arch-Governor's like, do you know the words? And he just recites them. And I'm like, how did he know the words? Like, he wasn't preparing for that. He had 2 years to forget everything that he learned. Trust me, I know that. I don't know. That to me is just a little bit like, I felt this whole, oh my God, dude, like, you're screwed. How are you going to do this? What, like, you don't have help. You don't have, trope. Oh my God, how did we not see this trope? The squad was the Dumbledore, the seer, the person that kind of like tells you all the information and then sends you off on the journey, usually dies. But that's the trope where it's like, you're the chosen one, you need to go and do this. Here's some information. Or now you won't have access to me anymore. And you feel that kind of sense of loss. That's what that was. That's what we're feeling, maybe, Avery. Avery's like, you're on your own there, Maude. Aaron, you're still saying Darrow's motivation is too hollow. You didn't think the dropping of the, but EO, this is what EO wanted. I have to live for more. That wasn't enough for you?
Mostly because of, I don't think he really knew properly what he wanted out of all this besides just, I need to honor her memory or her last wish. But it's like, you don't really know what that meant because she didn't really know what that meant. She just had an idea and a dream and a hope for a better tomorrow.
And they weren't planning it. He only found out about this like half an hour before she's dead. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like she literally foisted an entire, course of action onto him by sacrificing herself, even though it's like she had like that big moment before, she's dragged off to be hanged and all that stuff. And it's like, okay, you clearly know he doesn't want to do this. He just wants to keep his head down, be a good hell diver for his tribe, and that's it. That's his whole motivation in life. He just wants this. And it's like, nah, I got something better for you. Be a revolutionary now. It's like, no, I don't want to. Too bad. I'm dead.
Yeah, now you have to. Now I have to.
Yeah.
I will say that there's a moment in the book where he like reflects on the amount of time that he's been in here. And he's like, I have been in this competition longer than EO and I were even married. Yeah.
Yeah. Like he knew Mustang probably longer than he knew EO at that point.
Oh, wow. It's kind of funny because Nurashuka says he gets more likable as he's with Mustang more and starts thinking through issues further. Nurashuka, do you think that Mustang is basically the reason why Darrow becomes more likable? Is Darrow more likable because of the women that he's around? Yay.
Potentially. I think she's just a good influence on him because she's definitely way more mellow. I mean, they really embody the houses that they were a part of. She's, House Minerva. He was House Mars, or I guess still is House Mars, kind of. He's all about the rage. She's all about thinking through it, being more tactical, being a bit more prudent. And then just, she just has fun around him. So her having fun kind of allows him to allow himself to have fun.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, okay. She's kind of like making it more of like an open presence to be around.
I like that. You're right. She calms him a little bit, calms that rage. I like that. Nick, you're saying you don't think he's likable. We're sympathetic to him because of what happened with Io. Now he's basically a slave. He got too caught up in the game and became unlikable. But it's so funny because at the end of the book, Nick, at the end of the book, he's like, everyone likes me. They're so loyal to me. I look around and everyone's impressed by me. Well, I'm the most likable person ever. That was a bit jarring, I thought, to read.
If you're liked by everybody, you're usually a villain.
What? How does that make sense?
Also, him then just accepting the
Or about to die,
arch-governor.
as we established with Io.
Yeah,
Mm,
but
yeah.
also him just accepting the arch-governor's like apprenticeship after like your entire motivation up to this point now has been to give this guy the middle finger for basically forcing the entire game to be rigged. That you're never going to win. It's basically him with the laurel at the very beginning. It's like the game's rigged because he
You
didn't want to
know
accept that because
this.
he's not. Because it's like he wants it just to be a fair fight. That's his motivation now at this point. At least that's an honest motivation instead of just being like I just have to accept because somebody else said I should accept this.
Yeah.
It's like now it's like
I was
I'm in
given
it
my
because I want to
fate.
win. And then you're
Yeah.
accepting this guy's apprenticeship. It's like that's kind of an FU to everybody who just struggled with you to get to this point, in my mind.
Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to read the part where he's like literally like everyone loves me. That's all right. We've gone through it enough. People basically saying he's got a big ego. He has to be a gold to beat the golds, but he took their attitudes and lifestyle. He took to it way too easily, says Avery. Jimmy says Darrow is no Kaz Brecker. Now, for those that have read the Six of Crows, Kaz Brecker is like chaotic, neutral, borderline evil, and yet he's very, very likable. Jimmy, why do you think that? What's the biggest difference between Kaz Brecker and Darrow here?
Oh, well, the difference between, I'm sorry, the phone is ringing in the background. It's not my phone, though.
Do you need to get? Okay.
Anyway, point being is that the difference between the two is one, Kaz Brecker is older, he's more seasoned, he's more thought oriented, as Darrow is capricious, impatient, dumb, foolhardy.
Kaz Brecker is
many
playing
others.
the long game.
Yes, exactly. Like Kaz knows what his end goal is. Darrow is just lucky that Mustang came along and saved him. That's the bottom line. You know.
I would argue that Inej kind of saved Kaz.
Oh yes, but I'm saying Darrow actually needed the help. Kaz kind of like they did it as a group kind of saving. You know what I mean? That is more agreeable.
Good argument. I like the parallels. If you haven't read Six of Crows, freaking do it. It's a great book. It's so good. Do we all hear the Shadow and Bone news? They basically fit books 2 and 3 of Shadow and Bone trilogy into that season so they could set up Six of Crows for their books. Yay. So good. I like blitz through season 2 of Shadow and Bone, everyone. All right, so I guess we're going to the end of the book with Avery's comment. I actually did like that he accepted the Archgovernor's proposal, know your enemy. I did like that there was a bit of a dangled carrot there where it was like the Knight of Mars, basically, who would have taught him justice, who would have been a really good role model for him, who would have looked after him, who could have he would have bonded really well with because he would have liked him, but knows this is where he's like, nope, game hat on. I've got to go with the Archgovernor. He is going to give me power and success and fame, and I need all of that to take him down. What I also really, really like is that the Archgovernor basically just told Darrow their weakness. There's not enough of us, he says. We're going up against Cassius's family, the Bolognas. Is that what they're called? The Bologna? Someone will tell me.
Bologna.
Bologna?
Yeah.
Bologna. I just don't like that they're called the loners when there's so many of them. So basically, the reason why there's this massive fight is because they're both very powerful houses, and an older brother of the Bologna household killed the older brother of the Augustus household, and that's where shit went down. And Augustus has not been breeding. he's not been having too many children, whereas Cassius has many brothers and sisters, and then like a dozen cousins. So their family is ready to kind of like nepotism. The more that there are, they're all going to grow up, they're all going to build. Nepotism is such a theme of this book, and it felt personal sometimes. Is this kind of what we learnt from this? It's not what you know, it's who you know. Is it just
Well,
like
nepotism's always personal, I'd say.
oh well, yeah, but it felt personal to Pierce, like, because that was the big bad of this book was nepotism.
I always remember the bit from the Game of Thrones books where it's always a joke at Walder Frey saying he could field an army from his britches.
Oh, yikes! Yeah. But yeah, it's about how many, because like, you know, when so many die, especially when it goes through the passage like this, you need to have numbers. Julian, it was a loss, and they're like, that sucks. He was so sweet. He wasn't vicious enough. But it's okay because now Nancy, Sarah, Tom, you know, they're all going to go in the next upcoming years because we've got a lot of them. Whereas Augustus is like, I got 2 kids. I need apprentices, and that's how I expand my family. So you are literally going to become my lance. Was that, I guess that's kind of like a good way to end it because it's setting us up for these next books. Has that made, for people that have only read the first book, is this more enticing? Are you more inclined to read the next book knowing that this is what's been set up for us? Okay, everyone's nodding. Everyone's nodding. Colleen, have you already started it? Have you started it?
No, I'm reading Death's Collector right now. I'm really into it. If you like a very sarcastic murderer, it's a fun read.
Do I like sarcastic murderers? I have to think.
Well, it's sword and sorcery and
oh, the
murder.
Answer's yes. The answer's yes. Then. Yeah. Yes. Oh, Aaron, you've got a bone to pick with Darrow saying he didn't choose his battles wisely. He felt like he had to. Every step had to be a victory, no matter what. We did go over that. We went over that. I'm just reading through all the comments. Oh, hold on, Aaron. You didn't like Darrow taking the Archgovernor's apprenticeship.
Yeah, I was kind of saying that earlier, where like now, like seeing like because I just brought up that last bit just to kind of see it. I can agree with it now because he is using it for the right reason, but because he didn't explain it to anybody, it's like it just looked like he's being an opportunistic asshole.
Because he had the option to take that like for castle sieges before, and he didn't have to kill the proctors. I don't know. Maybe that's like my need for like, oh, respect your elders, or like there's a system in place. You don't kill the teacher.
Well, not so much that. It's like you just went through this entire monumental effort of uniting so many forces behind you under this one idea, like, you know, we're here to like, you know, be elevated on our own merit. It's like if the strongest is to survive, but the game is being rigged against us, like that's not okay. So let's all unite and fight against that. And then you basically side with the person who rigged the game. Like, yes, I get your motivation for it. It's to basically get yourself as far inside to the source of power as possible, to learn as much as you can to take it down. But from the outside, you're basically looking like an opportunistic slime ball.
Yeah.
Because you don't explain any of that to anybody. You just have all these other prospects sitting there waiting for your word, and you just immediately take the first offer.
So, and everyone who's like loyal to him saw that too. I wonder if there's a fallout.
That's my problem.
Yeah, like Sevro, he would be like, dude, what? Like I fought for you, I killed for you. Yeah, that's interesting. And Sevro's got info.
Yeah.
Sevro knows.
He edited out that one line because he said the bloody damn line to one of the proctors before he killed him. So it's like he's like, I don't know what that is, but I thought it's important, so I'm just telling you I edited it out. So it's like he knows. He may not know the truth, the full truth, but he knows something's up.
Sevro's pretty damn smart, you know.
He's not. He's somebody you want as a friend, never as an enemy, because he will
100%.
destroy you.
Honestly, like, as soon as I get out of here, I think he's going to stalk Lilith and poke her eye out. Eye for an eye. Like, anyway. Clever girl, Colleen, you've got a really interesting observation about Darrow's behavior, saying that he's so used to fighting for scraps that he probably felt like he had to fight for everything. I think that you're right. When you go hungry, that is a mentality that you can't unlearn. And that actually makes sense. You kind of just won that argument, Colin. Vaden says, no, Darrow does what other people want all the time with little thought. He's still a red to some extent, and they were always taught that obedience was their highest virtue. Oh, this debate. Both sides are right. Both right.
Well, I think in real life, none of us are one or the other. You know, we go back and forth. So I think it's perfectly understandable that Darrow would go back and forth. His comfort zone is obedience, but his anger, his need for revenge would drive him to this revolution. And then he's got Mustang sort of tempering the extremes of his personality here. So, yeah, I think both of those things can be true about him at the same time.
True. All right, Colleen won. Avery, you got a bone to pick as well. What did you give it out of 10? 5, Avery?
4. I still enjoyed it, even though I am like picking everything apart.
So the one I want to bring up, what are the odds that 3 of the 4 people he met previously all ended up in the same house as him? Who are those again? Cassius?
Cassius, Julian, and the girl, what's her name? The one who betrayed him.
Antonia.
Yeah, Antonia. Yeah.
She's
and then
alive.
The only other person he met was Mustang. So she was in a different house, but the other 3 people he met were all in the same house as him.
Hermione, Ron.
Yeah, if they were backstabbers.
True though. Duga says, "Don't hate the player, hate the game." Oh, how many other people are going to accept the Archgovernor's apprenticeship, says Colleen. That's interesting. Also, what was kind of the ick for me, that he's made the offer to Darrow before he even said hello to his children. Fuck that. Dude's not getting Dad of the Year anytime soon. And I think the Bolognas would not have done that. That is an Augustus trait, is my belief. Gross. Like, they just don't care. Mustang could have totally sided with her brother. She's like, nah, he's a dick. Like, here he is. I'm just going to bound him and tie him up. Like, here he is naked for you. Oh, what's wrong with their family? Golds.
Besides the family, besides the Archgovernor, he seems to have broken some sort of protocol. Because didn't it say something about everyone else being a little shocked about the way he just sort of swooped in on Darrow and offered him the apprenticeship?
It was tactless. Yeah, that he like basically claimed him like that and didn't let him choose, But I mean, Darrow said yes. I don't know. It's all a bit weird. But I mean, Augustus, he even said it. He's like, I got many enemies. The Bolognas are just one family that hate me. There's many. You're basically going to be my sword and take care of all that for me. Yay, what a privilege. Okay, going through all the comments again still. There's a lot to get across. We haven't mentioned Titus's reveal. We haven't mentioned Titus yet. Roke's coming back. Roke, no plural. The reveal about Sevro's relation to Fitchner. Like, there's a lot that happens in. Okay, we'll start with Titus because it was chapter 28. Did anyone see that coming, that he was a red? Because that was just like, no one saw that coming. No. Titus had like the sort of sensibility of a gold. Like, I am better than everyone. I will sneer at everyone. So the fact that it's like, and I think at the end of the book, Darrow even says that, I hope that the Archgovernor sees my rage as excitement. And that's exactly what Titus did. He was sneering at everyone, but you just thought that this was this gold attribute of being better than everyone, and everyone else is beneath you, and that's why he's sneering. But really it was disguised rage. He's looking around going, I hate everyone here. Everyone's a gold, and if you're a gold, I immediately hate you, and I will do whatever I can to take you down. So if you cannot differentiate between a raged red and a buffhead gold, if you literally remove the color of a label, like make them just big and bulky and put money into it, you can't tell the difference. There's something going on there. What was really interesting with the Titus reveal, in hindsight, do you think that Darrow could have used Titus as an ally? Because they had the same goal.
I think he was going to change his mind at all. He seemed pretty set on just he was the wildfire that they kept talking would just burn out real quick. He was ready to go.
Yeah, everyone's saying that.
Maybe if he had gotten known ahead of time, like before Titus and him kind of went to war, like before Titus turned, and they might have been able to work something out. But I think once there was a divide, once there was a divide between their whole group, there was no way that they were going to get together.
Aaron saying,
plus with the,
oh yeah, you go on.
Yeah, I might as well say it. I was going to say, when you were saying about give him the fire, it's like, but Titus hasn't given him any reason to trust him at all, or at the very least that he could work together with him. It's like, I know he doesn't have to like each other, but it's like you're still having to work together as a team, and it's like you have given him nothing at all to prove that, especially like you've gotten all the bullies on your side. You've clearly done very questionable things.
Yeah.
It's like you've done everything to make everybody hate you. It's like there's nothing that redeemable about him.
And how interesting though that when Titus was gone, Darrow became the next Titus. He basically filled his place. But I think it's also really interesting that they have recording devices on them at all times. I was also like, good thing you didn't say anything. Good thing you didn't out him. Good thing you weren't like, brother, are you also a red? Me too. Holy shit, game over. So he kind of saw the liability and took care of it. And it's interesting that the only lesson that he learned from that was that he should have killed him and not Cassius, because by Cassius killing him, thinking that Titus took out Julian, Cassius's brother, this was just revenge. This was just a vengeance move instead of it being a tactile move. But I was like, dude, that's the least of your problems, having Cassius kill him, I thought, personally.
So I just wanted to quickly disagree with people saying Titus couldn't be, redeemed at all. Like, I think it's supposed to show the growth of Darrow in that, because early, like, he kills Titus because of his actions, and he thinks that he can't do anything with him. He's gonna just, like I said, be a wildfire, be a brute, and just be animal.
But then tactics.
But in tactics, exactly. When tactics comes in, like I said, get tactical. Like he shows that like he can use people, even if some of them are maybe still be bad people. Maybe Titus is still a horrible person, but at least he can use them to fulfill his goal. So I think Titus could have been. He could have something more useful than killing him. That was definitely a mistake, and that it was proven to be a bad move essentially when he became him. So
And it
I think
actually added to the Proctor's argument going, you just killed someone who would have made a great leader on a vessel, you know, on one of our fighter ships. He would have been a great commander because he just barks orders and he's violent and he's huge. You know, the two Titans were Titus and Pax. But gone.
yeah.
But gone. Gosh, a lot of people, like, you can't have favorites, can you? In these sorts of books. You're like, who else? Leah? Okay. How dare you? And then you just like racking up all the names. Blummel says, Pax, tell him on us. That got me. Pax is just so sweet. When they first had like a bit of a fallout, you're like, oh no, Pax is like brutal. Pax is no good. Pax is just like Titus. Like everyone's got their own Titus, I suppose. And then as soon as Pierce just wrote back. Asshole. Said no, that's not true. He said I pulled his name out of a hat. Someone had to die. That's a gory damn lie. That's bullshit. Nuh-uh. Pulled his name out of a hat. Someone had to. That was personal. Not prime. Not prime at all, Blummel, is it? Not prime, my Goodman. I have been talking to Pierce like that, though. The lingo, especially if you hear it, it gets in your head a little bit. Like, anyway. Negative. Righto. Yeah. But good stuff. Okay. KP Dubs, I understand the need for a rebellion to make. Is this just a bunch of puns? No, to maintain cells so no one can give up under torture. But one would think two Reds working together might have had better odds. Looking at you, Aries. Oh, okay. So why don't
also, I want just going back just half a step when he kills Titus. He had heard Titus say "bloody damn."
Yes.
So now he's got to wonder. He slipped in front of me, not knowing I'm a Red. Well, if I let him live, is he going to slip again? If the Golds find out there's a Red in here, it's going to increase their guard, and they might start looking deeper, and that could jeopardize Darrow. So I
it was
think
a loose thread. He
had to do it, even though he was a Red and he felt terrible about it. But yeah, I go back to the Sons of Ares. Hey, why don't you guys just say, you know what, you're not the only one going in?
Team up.
Maybe give them some sort of silly code word that they can say in a conversation. No one else will get it, but another Red would, and then they could have somehow teamed up. But no, the Sons of Ares are just like, no, go in there, have fun. You're the only one. 97 people have failed before you. So
strength in numbers, for sure. Instead of they became enemies when they were literally fighting on the same team. Seems like a little bit of a waste. Aaron, you're saying Pax probably should have died, but maybe later in the books. He should have lived through this one thing at least. I know, he earned that. Now, Leah. The whole Leah situation, the Leah betrayal. Do you think Leah had a choice? Or do you think Antonia and Pollux and starts with V, Vixus, basically threatened her because she came in, the whole ruse was Roke has fallen in a ditch. Please come immediately. Come right now. What do you think What do you think that was about? Because that kind of struck me as a bit weird that Leah would do that when just like literally the chapter before Roke was like, I'm gonna make a move. I really like her. And he was like kind of brought back down to like, you know what, we're doing this battle royale, but at the same time, like, we're also 16 and we get crushes on people. So why would Leah immediately betray? Thoughts?
I thought she was being threatened into doing it. Like they were like, "Well, we're gonna kill you if you don't do it," and then they're like, "Well, now we'll just kill you if he doesn't come out again."
So she was just a pawn.
Yeah, that's what I always thought.
That sucks.
Or they probably said like, "Yo, hey, we got Rogue tied up somewhere in a ditch. If you don't help us, he's dead."
So this is the thing about a lot of issues like superheroes. They're like, no, as soon as if I have enemies, if anyone finds out I love someone, they are a target. And so when Leah and Roke had feelings, I guess it was turned against them. Did they use Roke against her? Yeah, that's what it's feeling like. She was being threatened too.
Yeah, I think so, because especially because like Roke was such a likable character that like even Darrow gets tricked twice in a row. Like they're like, hey, and Roke's somewhere in a ditch, go to find him. So he immediately runs out, gets betrayed like literally twice in a row because he wants to go save him immediately because everyone loves this guy apparently.
I would trade Pax for Roke.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I have a theory.
Me too.
I have a theory that Pax is Maori. Because his family's from New Zealand and this guy's like 7 feet and it's Maori, you know, I don't know if you've seen the New Zealand rugby team and like when they do the haka, it's like so scary and intimidating and they're just the sweetest. They are so well mannered. They, you know, a lot of the time, don't want to generalize, but like, you know.
I believe the term is cinnamon roll.
Yes, looks like could kill you is a cinnamon roll. That's 100% it. So Pax, you know, being the scary guy, talking about Helga. Like, what happens when Helga finds out? This is the shit that... Let's hope Mustang stays alive. Yikes. Tim is saying there's so many characters that I feel shouldn't have survived the passage but did. It makes me wonder what secrets they hold with Sevro and Roke. Well, we know Sevro's secret. There was basically the most powerful, important person in the whole freaking world. The son was in the passage, Priam. Priam was very good looking, so likable, you know, very skilled, was basically a sure thing. And because Sevro was the smallest, and I think they wanted to put Fitchner into line a little bit. Sevro was fodder. Sevro was supposed to die, but Sevro the goblin just clawed his way through Priam, the pretty boy, like just did what he had to do to survive. So we know Sevro's story. And there's that moment in the book where Darrow says, you killed Priam, because I'm noticing that every time that you've got the standard, you don't get any points. You cannot win this. You are tarnished, basically. The proctors will not reward you for any good that you do. You killed Priam. And he's like, yep, you're on target. And then he's like, you killed Julian. And that was the last they ever spoke about the passage. And you're just kind of like, Sevro, man, he's not bringing up anything like that. He's separating himself. He's the lone wolf that builds his own pack. He claws wolves with his own bare hands. Like, this is a very unpredictable, as we've said, you want him on your side. You don't want him as an enemy. We find out that
he also helped him kill the proctor.
Yeah, which is what his dad does. And when he's like, yeah, I basically beat up your father, and he's like in a cell somewhere, he's like, ha ha ha. It's like, what is happening here? What a weird relationship. Nurashuka says, Sevro is truly badass motherfucker. Bamf. What do you think is going to happen with Sevro? Any predictions for people that haven't read the next book? Golden Sun, isn't it? Ooh, should I read the blurb?
If he's not recruited to someone else, I imagine he goes with Darrow. Like, he's like the perfect right hand. He's like the perfect right hand man, and he's good at wet work.
But I mean, he doesn't really have a say. If he's like,
no,
yeah, that's the thing. Alrighty, here's the blurb. For 700 years, my people have been enslaved without voice, without hope. Now I am their sword, and I do not forgive. I do not forget. So let them think they own me. Let them welcome me into their house, so I might burn it down. Oh, the blurb's too spoilery, you think? Let me read ahead. Talk amongst yourselves. No, that's not spoilery. That's not spoilery. No!
So was anyone annoyed by Cassius, like at the end, being obsessed with trying to kill him?
Oh my god, yes! I understand that the betrayal is that Darrow could have told Cassius the entire time. And the thing that makes the most sense in the argument is, you let me call you brother. And Darrow's here going, it was kill or be killed. I didn't set that match. what would it have looked like? I mean, we all need to, I'll put this on record and someone clip this. Kate was right. Kate's argument last week was, if he'd just told him, because you know that's going to come back and bite him in the ass, Kate was right. But you're right.
Yeah.
Cassius, they'd gone through so much, and knowing that there was no way through it otherwise. Aaron, what are you going to say?
I was going to say Cassius is the unlikable Inigo Montoya in this moment. Instead of it's his father, it's
brother.
you keep it. Exactly.
Prepare to die.
But in the unlikable way.
Yeah. Blurb's not spoilery. I'm going to read it. Darrow is a rebel forged by tragedy. For years, he and his fellow Reds worked the mines, toiling to make the surface of Mars inhabitable. They were, they believed, mankind's last hope, until Darrow discovered that it was all a lie, and that the Reds were nothing more than unwitting slaves to an elite ruling class, the Golds, who have been living on Mars in luxury for generations. Now fully embedded amongst the Gold ruling class, Darrow continues his dangerous work to bring them down from within. It's a journey that will take him further than he's ever been before. But is Darrow truly willing to pay the price that rebellion demands? That's pretty vague. That's pretty vague.
That could have been for book 1. You could have convinced me.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. So the lowest score that we had was Vaden's, 3.14. The highest score, who gave it a 5? Anyone give it a 5?
I did.
Go, Colleen. What did you love about it?
I loved the fighting spirit, and I loved the way that Darrow made a lot of mistakes, but he's growing. He could have been Titus, but Titus eventually would have blown himself up. You know, I mean, Titus was too rage-driven. Darrow was, he just barely kept his rage under control, but he gradually is learning to channel it and to use it against people. I see him learning from those around him enough that he could eventually be a great leader. And I would like to imagine that as he's learning to appreciate some of the Golds that he's bonded with here, that maybe they could eventually create a society that would be equitable for all productive people. Well, for all people, you know, everyone's productive in their own way.
Yeah. I just, it's so hard because it's like the structure has been in place for so long. And the hierarchy, when it's like the Golds ruling that sit at the top, if you collapse that, then what would it look like?
But that's the story of colonialism, apartheid, the Haitian Revolution, you know,
Bolsheviks in Russia.
Yeah, that sometimes it works better than others, depending on how savvy the leaders are, and how willing. The problem is, a lot of times you get someone in a position of power, and what do they say? Power corrupts, and
absolutely,
yeah,
power corrupts. Absolutely,
yes,
yeah, I hear you on that. And I will say, like, coming from Australia, which is a country with 25 million people, and moving to America with 250 million people, maybe even more than that, it is the more people, the longer it's been in place, the harder it is for change. In fact, America finds it easy to go backwards than it does to progress going forwards, which I think is awesome. We love it. So great. America's biggest problem is the divide, which is now happening in Australia a little bit more as well. I think it's easier for Australia to make change because there's less people that it affects. And I do think that there is a struggle with the amount. I am coming from a country where we all handed in guns. and we have universal healthcare. Like, I still don't understand how America can't look after their own people for health care, because it's a tax thing. So yes, it would cost more money, but there's more people to use the tax. And if you don't put the money into tanks and warfare, then it could actually heal the people that are in the country. I went real
But then
political.
there wouldn't be a profit in it, and that's the problem.
Capitalism!
So that's
exactly.
Also, that's a holdover from World War II, because we haven't stopped building military since then.
What do you think's gonna happen?
Oh, it's gonna get ugly fast.
It is, isn't
Nothing
it?
good.
I'm a purple.
So
What am I gonna do?
So bad.
Oh my god, I'm so going back.
So bad.
Okay. It is. It's money. It's greed. The ugliest and most evil thing in the world is greed, and greed is what's fueling all bad decisions ever. Socialism. I think a healthy dose of socialism is a good thing, because, socialism is basically talking about equality, isn't it? We're all people. There are no colors. There are no golds. There are no purples. There are no, everyone deserves to be healthy. Everyone deserves to live.
Kinda. So it depends. There's a lot of different kinds of socialism. So I think the traditional one is just that, like, the workers own the means of production, and the other stuff with safety nets and stuff like that is more like social democracy, like a lot of European countries and stuff. It's a little different. The word socialism gets used in a lot of different contexts.
Yeah, it's misunderstood in a lot of ways, because a lot of people equate socialism with communism, and they're completely different things.
No. Yeah.
Also, people want the American dream, which is to become rich and famous and all that kind of stuff. If it's a socialist country, that can't happen for people. So even though maybe only 1% of people will ever get there, everybody wants to be able to strive for it.
Well, it used to be just be able to afford a house, have 2 cars, basically all your needs are met kind of thing. It's like that was the first step of the American dream. Then it got warped into being rich, and then it got warped again.
Tax the billionaires. No one needs that much money. Hi, Grace Freak. Thank you so much for stopping on by and giving us a follow.
The billionaires tax the corporations like Amazon and eBay and Disney that don't pay taxes.
Did you hear that Facebook decided to launch a charity where they will be putting all of their profits into that charity? What does the charity do?
Bullshit. Excuse me, what?
No one knows. It's tax evasion.
Yeah.
And they literally were like, we're really
Yeah, and
to help.
it's not even subtle tax evasion. It's like we're evading the taxes.
Blatant. Oh, Avery says tax the wealthy, cut the defense budget. Thank you. It's all I'm trying to say. It's all I'm trying to say. KP Dub says I got a roof, I got a car, and a book club. I'm good. Big says some event will cause a reform, just unsure of it. Maybe environmental or directly man-made. Biggs, we gotta buckle up, huh? Thank you. If that's your first time chatting, appreciate your input.
And if you think about it, Red Rising is basically capitalism run amok, where it's like
capitalism,
one group of people
nepotism.
It's just one small group of people compared to the rest is like, hoarding all the wealth and resources and exploiting everybody else to do their bidding.
Jimmy says TikTok met with the US Congress yesterday. I know, because this is capitalism again. Facebook's really, really mad that there is another social platform that is tanking Facebook. And so instead of having more different avenues for content creation, Facebook wants to make it illegal so that they can rule supremacy and monopolize the entire...
Don't we have monopoly laws against that? Oh, that's right. We do, but nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Amazon certainly doesn't. How much does Amazon own of everything?
Or Disney.
Oh, by the way, we're streaming on Twitch, which is owned by Amazon.
Which is owned by Amazon?
That's all right. I will listen to my book on Audible. Oh, which is owned by Amazon.
You're so deep, bud.
Oh my god.
How many Alexas do you have?
Alexa, are you owned by Amazon? No, my friend Alexa made me change it to Echo. That's fair. That's fair.
I think what we need to do, I've got friends in Norway, kind of found family in Norway. And, a lot of people look at them and say, well, Scandinavia, these are socialist countries.
Yeah.
But they're really not. They're capitalist countries, but they have
a year paid
social
maternity
benefits.
Yeah.
What's that?
A year paid maternity.
Yeah. Yeah. You get, yeah, they take care of their people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, you can still have a business, you can still be entrepreneurs, but you need to, but they also have parachutes, ways of helping other people. And I know that the Scandinavian countries are a lot smaller than the US.
That's
But
that's my only thing of why I don't think it's working. And I guess this like American dream and like, the bulk of Americans thinking that they need money to be happy.
there are so many people that they don't stand a chance in the world. I mean, if you think about the saying, pull yourself up with your bootstraps, that's impossible. What do you try to do? Lift yourself off the ground with your by your feet? That does not happen.
No, I know.
And so, but everyone thinks, well, but things are in place, and there is this outside possibility that I'm investing my money, I'm getting an education, I'm thinking good thoughts, and maybe I can
Thoughts and prayers, baby.
I'll be on Shark Tank and make $1 million.
In Australia, everyone gets 5 weeks paid holiday. In America, it's 2. In Australia, women have maternity leave where they will get paid, I believe it's 9 months paid maternity leave. And I'm pretty sure that men can get paternity leave because both are parents. Both should be home to bond with the child for the first crucial months, and the work will pay for that. When I fell through a glass table at 2 a.m. and sliced my leg open, and my calf muscle may have been hanging out of my leg, we drove to a public hospital where I was treated, got 20 stitches, got a pat on my back, and was sent on my way. And it cost me nothing. If I had that same experience in America, I would be possibly 5 digits in debt. It would probably be around $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for that same thing.
I had kidney stones 2 years ago, and it was an emergency room situation, and it cost me about close to $3,500, and that was with insurance. Because they had to do an MRI, CAT scan kind of thing just to find the kidney stone, because I didn't know what was going on. I just knew I had a pain in my side the whole day and had to go in the emergency room to get it figured out. So, yeah.
My mum just got reconstructive knee surgery. Knee replacement. Had to wait on a waiting list. Got the knee replacement, which is, I think, without insurance, I believe it was $30,000, $40,000. Free. Absolutely free. Bionic mum, I know. She got a new knee. Ah, yeah. Jimmy, don't even think about having cancer once, let alone twice in this country, huh? That's tough. Hello, Whiskey Coyote. Yes, Colleen?
When my son had to have his brain surgeries, we had good enough insurance that I didn't have to pay for it, but I almost lost my house anyway. I didn't have anyone to take care of the other boys. I had to quit work to take care of him. I was out of work for a year, and And then the laws in California, in order to go back and continue teaching, there were classes that I had to take. It got really bad. Even though I didn't have to pay out of pocket for the actual medical expenses, which were far more than my house was worth, I still was in a position that there was no safety net. There was no social system. I went to welfare once to ask them, just for some temporary help. And I think I had $300 in a savings account for a college fund for my boys. And they said as long as I had that, they couldn't help me.
Oh my God. This country does kick you when you're down, I've noticed. Canadians coming in. True Scorn, Canadian, got my gallbladder out for free. Jerry, kidney stone last summer. Walked to the emergency, got an emergency room for the full night with IV, 2 doses of morphine, and got scanned. $0. I mean, it's good things that Red Rising and books like this start that conversation about how we're all fucked in America. Whiskey K says, I'm trying to pull my 401k early. Lol. What? Why the lol? Who's laughing? Aaron says, I was only in the ER for roughly 3 hours and I had to pay that much. And most of the money was because of the scanner. Oh my lordy. Do you know, I don't know if I've told this story before. One of my Aussie friends, like us Aussies, I have insurance because for tax purposes, you kind of have to have health insurance. But a friend of mine, he's Aussie, he was just like, we just save enough money for a business class trip home one way. That's it. You're better off, instead of spending $5,000 a year on health insurance that you're not going to use, spend that $5,000 on a business class flight. He was mountain biking, fell off a bike, broke both of his wrists, went to a student hospital, got morphine, booked a business class flight, was passed out the whole flight home, got fixed for free in Australia. So that's probably what I'm going to do if anything goes wrong. Yay. Just if I'm just gone. Don't ask questions. I hope someone looks after my dog. I love you. Hey, so is it a good book? Yes, Whiskey Coyote. This is a great book. Red Rising by Pierce Brown. It makes you talk about capitalism and nepotism. So if you're really rich and well-connected, life's great, you're fine. Everything's fine. You may have to get your hands dirty a little bit, but nothing that you can't pay someone to just forget about. If you're not, you're fucked.
I will say, at least besides those points, the book does also showed like the good lesson about making sure to pick your, like, who you're loyal to and stuff like that, like picking your friends better, because he picked Cassius right away. He's like, oh, I really like him, but I also have a terrible secret. Now it's out. Now not only do I not have a friend, I have a guy who will murder me if he has the opportunity. So learn to pick your friends very carefully, especially in a nepotistic society.
Dishonorable Labrador has said, is it a bit like The Expanse then? I think I mean, it's all a bit political, isn't it? The Expanse I haven't read, even though I've heard it's great. I've only watched the show. Vaden just says, you can just tell them the truth. Actually, he said it in all caps. Whoa. You're in a mood tonight, Vaden.
Robin Williams, Aladdin genie there.
KP Dubs with the pun. When you've been sitting on that one for a while, were you? Says Darrow's story is cyclical.
A good hour. I've been waiting on that one for a good hour.
Toaster Poster says, isn't Australia and Canada part of the Commonwealth? Couldn't you fly to Canada and get healthcare? Yeah, I could actually. My parents joked about that. If anything went wrong, they'd just go to Canada for free healthcare. So yeah, I could go to Canada instead. But I would want my family to look after me. Whiskey Coyote spelled Australians with alien in the back of it. Why? Oh, more aliens in the Expanse. Australians. Okay. Come take our snow, Maude, says Chris. Nah, mate. I have been in the rain and cold for like December, January, February, March. It's 4 months of it. We've had 4 months of misery.
Somebody in Minnesota. Oh no, what a nightmare.
No, you chose that. I didn't choose this. This is not what I signed up for. Pierce right back when I said that's a gory damn lie, and he says, nope, it's canon. Good. All right.
I'm just going to say, I'm in Central Washington, and I drove home with my sunroof open today, so...
What?
The cold weather somehow skipped Washington.
How warm is it there?
It was like 65.
That's freezing.
It was about 42 in Michigan with my windows down when I drove to see Shazam this afternoon. Loved it. Had the breeze blowing.
Oh yeah, I had my windows down here in Michigan too. I definitely get that.
The difference between people in the north and people in California. 65 is freezing to you, Maude, for real?
65 is a bit cold. It's not freezing. Yeah. It's not freezing.
That's like a great picnic day.
65 is a great day.
58
like,
is freezing.
I prefer 78 to 80, but 65 is a pretty good day.
I think the perfect temperature is like 75, right?
Especially coming out of winter when it was like 10.
It's 73 in my apartment right now, and I'm wearing a sweater.
If it get to 50 right now where I'm at, I'd be like just wearing a sweatshirt and flip-flops outside right now.
50?
Yeah.
50 is hoodie weather. 50 is hoodie weather.
50 would be amazing right now for me. I'm in the 20s right now. Oh, sorry. I'm in the 30s. I just looked at my phone. I'm in the 30s.
Are you made of ice?
Yeah.
My students used to complain about how cold it was when it got to the low 70s.
Yeah.
But then our summers were usually triple digits, so they weren't used to it.
I was at about 120 in Palm Springs, and I had to carry Zelda everywhere because her feet would like melt into the road.
And she has a dark coat, so she's just absorbing that heat.
She wasn't great. It wasn't very fun for her. That's why she was in an air-conditioned hotel room a lot of the time. The UK has been unusually warm this time of year. Dishonorable Labrador, are you in the UK? Because that's what, like, Ridian, you're in Wales. What is it? It's like 2 a.m.? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1:20? What are you doing? Go to bed. I'm in bed at 10 p.m. Yeah, 1:30. I got it. It's concrete, not asphalt. What's the difference? Oh, this sounds like it's a science question.
I could tell you as a civil engineer, but I don't want to go into it.
What's the difference between concrete?
I don't want to tell you. I don't want to get into it. There's a lot of difference.
Does one absorb heat?
No, they both absorb heat, but asphalt is generally black, which makes it worse.
Concrete gray?
But it's mostly just what it's made out of. Because concrete is a lot of like sand, whereas asphalt is different.
Stone?
I'd have
tar.
Yeah, a little bit. The tar is definitely an asphalt for sure.
Who else was chiming in on that conversation?
I was just gonna add in like it's just basically a difference of chemical composition, basically.
Go on.
I can't. I'm like smart enough to know some things, but I'm like, I'm not this guy who would actually be able to tell you the exact chemical composition. I'm sure.
I'm gonna go through some of the themes in this book. Revenge, fulfilling or futile. Pierce Brown examines vengeance as a guiding force through hot-headed Darrow, who alternately resists and indulges his vendettas. As Darrow embarks on his hero's journey, Darrow tells Dancer he wants to kill Eo's murderer, the Archgovernor Augustus. Darrow answers, I said I would give you justice. Vengeance is an empty thing, Darrow. Dancer knows that killing Augustus will not bring Eo back to life, nor will it create the more equitable social vision that Eo described to her husband. Other characters demonstrate the toxic effects of revenge upon the soul. In Dancer's partner, Harmony, Darrow sees a vengeful spirit since she lost someone. Titus, too, is a creature of vengeance, out to torture the Golds who hurt a woman he loved. Bloodthirsty and brutal, he lives and dies by revenge at Cassius's hand. Darrow, having allowed Cassius to avenge his brother, realizes how hollow it seems to let revenge rule the day. True justice, on the other hand, requires impartial moral decisions and demonstrates the consequences of wrongdoing. Moreover, as Darrow learns, justice upholds social order while vengeance brings chaos. There's a lot on that. Hold on, they say a little bit about... After Darrow takes Olympus, he acknowledges the raging, impulsive nature that leads him to violence like this. Faced with the Archgovernor's apprenticeship offer, he lets this anger seethe again as he imagines the tyrant's future death. Darrow is still developing as a hero and arguably allowing revenge to fester despite Dance's plea to relinquish it. Although he wins the game, Darrow might lose himself in the future if he continues to let personal offense trump fair punishment. Oh, it's so interesting when you have like a whole academic breakdown over themes in a book. Cool. Any thoughts? We kind of spoke about vengeance.
In my mind, I am picturing Darrow's perfect revenge against the Arch-Governor.
How do you think it's going to happen?
He's going to marry Mustang.
He doesn't care!
He's gonna, then at the final point, he's gonna be basically like standing there with a knife or whatever over the Arch-Governor and say, you took my wife, so I took your daughter for my wife. Your child or your grandchild is gonna be a red like me. Oh, and I converted your wife to like side with me in the battle against the Golds. It's gonna be something like that, I hope.
Ooh.
Just a maximum revenge effect on that Arch-Governor that took his wife.
Oh, K. Frito says, oh, yes, Aaron?
Oh, I was just going to say, that's kind of like what I'm thinking is what he's going to do. He's just going to do a lot of like, instead of like giant epic battle, it's going to be a slow, I'm going to change the landscape of everything you know from the inside out. That'll be his revenge.
Mm-hmm. What did I just see recently where it's like, it's not enough to kill them. I have to... Oh, it's Kaz Brecker from Six of Crows. It's not enough to kill Pekka Rollins. I have to destroy everything that he's ever done. I have to make sure he will never grow again. I will make sure that he will never have anything in his life. Like, I will cut the roots out from under him so he cannot do anything. Yeah, interesting. It's like Wesley, to the pain. I'm not sure I've heard of that. Brick by brick. There it is. Some other themes of the book: the cost of conquest, purpose, worth, and destiny, the power of sacrifice. What is the power of sacrifice about? Oh, yeah, actually, this is actually an interesting one about Tactus. Because maybe I'm just a woman, but I don't understand how taking the punishment with Tactus made Tactus like him more. Dayton's just like 3.14. Sacrificing.
I liked that he liked it more, but I didn't get it either.
Yeah, Tactus was like.
It was weird.
Tactus was into him after that. It's respect.
I mean, he is kind of an odd guy.
I think that was his kink.
He's weird.
Maybe. That could be it.
Yeah, he's like, no, I'm not going to say it. We all read the book. Sacrificing his body for Tactus's sins shows his army that, contrary to what the Institute teaches, the best leaders take responsibility for their followers' actions. Darrow tells them, every time any of you commit a crime like this, something gratuitous and perverse, you will own it, and I will own it with you. Because when you do something wicked, it hurts all of us. Darrow upends the society's kill or be killed culture, placing his body on the line for the good of the collective. I understand it's like, I was the leader of the team. One of my people fucked up, so therefore, I'm responsible. I guess.
Isn't it kind of like putting them all, like everybody kind of recognizes Darrow as the leader, but when he steps into that and takes that whipping with or next to Tactus, it kind of says to everybody that we're on level ground. Like instead of saying I'm above all of you, it says we are together.
And that was Mustang's whole thing, wasn't it? It was like, you know, if you can basically command your friends like servants, but if you tell them that they're servants, they won't allow it.
Right.
But it's like, you know, you treat everyone as if they're your friend, and then once you have sort of like a friendship, then you'd do anything for that person. But if you're told to do that because it's your job, yeah, it does change.
Yeah, like basically command from a position of respect for who's under your command, basically.
Avery, you had a point here. Avery?
All right, sorry. I had a pop-up when I was trying to unmute.
Oh. Discord?
Yeah.
Owned by Amazon?
Right. Yeah, so basically he was trying to figure out a way to not anger Titus's followers because that would split his army, but he still had to punish him. So he decided to do something so shocking that they couldn't be mad because they were too shocked to be angry, basically.
Yeah. It was shocking. Hey, Whiskey Coyote, dude, can you make sense with what you're saying? I don't think we're having the same conversation. Fabbo. Not only does sacrifice make a hero, but it also creates unity and trust. After Darrow's martyrdom, his army fiercely protects and follows him. Pax goes even further with Darrow's self-giving philosophy, covering Darrow's body with his own and dying to protect his Reaper. Furthermore, sacrificing Darrow's personal interests for the good of the group earns him valuable allies and contributes to his victory against the Proctors. Darrow also waylays his desire to get it on with Mustang until a more sober moment. He's discovered that the more he gives up impulsiveness and selfishness for others' good, the more effective a revolutionary he becomes. Wow! He didn't take a woman in anger and extreme lust. What a win! What a win for the book! Sometimes I get so nervous about how difficult it can be to some for just basic decency. How basic decency is like when you hit that, you're a fucking legend. So cool. So cool. Hey, what else is... Symbols and motifs, let's go. The color. Red Rising is set in a world in which human beings have changed form. Each person belongs to a color which designates appearance, status, and occupation within society. Darrow, a red with rust eyes and hair, belongs to the lowest caste. As Darrow gazes at Yorkton, he sees color-coded lamps along the lower levels. Yellow, blue, orange, green, pink. 100 shades of a dozen colors to form a hierarchy so complex, so alien, I scarcely think it a human concept. The city also affords Darrow glimpses of green shops, pink brothels, and the world of Mickey the Carver, an artistic Violet who uses humans as his canvas. Pierce Brown uses these visual cues as a lens for systemic oppression. Not only the reds, but also colors like pinks are the objects of prejudice and discrimination from those of higher castes. Notably, the high colors are named for metals like silver and gold, indicating greater value, and their surnames contain the symbols of these elements. AU for gold, CU for coppers, for example, which you guys picked up way faster than I did. They were like, Augustus, I was like, yeah, because it's on the periodic chart. Darrow shatters this unjust paradigm by transforming into a towering godlike gold who seeks to shatter the society's injustice. Why was every single person so loyal to Darrow at the end? It was just a little unbelievable that everyone just went along with what he was doing. Thank you, Black Belt. I completely agree. People are writing back to this. Aaron says, I think it was that he was that extreme or offered an intense contrast to what they were always led to believe golds should behave. Colleen saying, women seem to be viewed as lesser even among the golds where they fight right alongside with the men. Yes, Titus, his primus was a woman, so he killed her. She was first. She was the leader. She earned the right to be a leader. He didn't like it because she was a woman, so he killed her. Avery says, the Proctors literally told them that they couldn't win by betraying their houses and following Darrow. They would not win. Yes, you're right, Avery. Let's talk about that. So basically, Apollo comes in and talks to the people, being like, you will not win. If Darrow wins this, it's not your win. Leave him. You're following him, but it will not get you anywhere. And the loyalty doubled. That makes no sense. Anyone?
I don't remember exactly where that took place, but there were a couple of scenes in the book where it was clear he was trying to set up the Proctors to reveal stuff to his people, like taking off the rings and stuff. So I think there was more that was untold in the book where he's like, guys, this is what they're going to say because they're trying to trick us. And so then when the Proctors said that, they're like, Darrow was right. Now we're even more loyal to you. So I think it was something like that.
I mean, I feel like Darrow superseded the Proctors. So when Apollo came in and laid that down, it was just like, well, the rules are so broken anyway. You know, you made rules and you're breaking them. So nothing that you say makes sense. Yeah.
I was gonna say what Avery saying about the Proctors telling them they couldn't win by betraying their houses. I don't necessarily think they did.
There was a lot of betrayal.
He conquered all of these houses, like Darrow and his band of like 20 people conquered these houses and then took whatever slaves and said, you'll win your freedom if you help me conquer the next house. And then so they conquered the next house and they freed the slaves and took slaves from that house. And it just kept going. His army kept growing basically because he kept freeing slaves. And I think every time he did that, the new batch of slaves saw it and were like, well, I want that. I don't necessarily think it was a betrayal of their house as much as it was we were slaves and it was either be a slave or be ashamed or have freedom. So they're like, I'll follow the freedom.
Yep. And that's what he basically said in the end of the book as well. Like, I let the broken people mend themselves. Whereas with the gold root, broken stay broken or dead.
Well, and plus, if all of them are shamed, I mean, they're kind of all in the same place. So that's not really going to be a huge discernment when it comes to getting the apprenticeships because everybody got shamed. They all got, they were all unslaved.
Dishonorable Labrador said, oh, wait, I don't know, actually. I have to read that. It's a blurb and I don't think it's to do with the book. So, Thierry, who thinks Mustang just wants to prove to her dad that she's better than her twin brother and more deserving to a high position in the family, and that's why she didn't betray Darrow. 100%. If they're twins, what's his name? Adrius? It's like he's had 3 different names. It's not Lucian. It's not the Jackal. It's like Adrius or something. He's the preferred. The Archgovernor wanted him to win, not her, not both of them. It's him, just him. So she's being reminded this entire time that her dad is not choosing her at all, that he's not championing her to win. And she's just like, you know what? I'm guessing she's been made to feel second the entire time because they're putting all stock in the Jackal. And so for Darrow to be like, no, I'm going to one-up him and I'm able to destroy him. Or for Mustang to be like, if I have to choose, I'm not choosing the guy who's made my life literally hell my entire life. I was thinking about that. I was thinking about that with my family. Because, like, my brother and I, we're getting closer. We weren't great. If it was 16-year-old Maude, my brother would have given me up in a second. Like, in a second. And I think I would have drawn the line. I was like, would I have betrayed my brother? Maybe. Likely. Would I have been okay with someone stabbing a knife through his hand? No. I would not have liked that. Do not hurt and maim my brother. Like, and that is where sort of like blood thicker than water kind of deal, where it's like, you know what? I don't have to like the guy right now, but do not permanently, you know, I'm not a gulp. No, I'm not a gulp. But I did think that was interesting. I'm trying to put myself in Mustang's headspace. They're all a bit morbid, though. Mustang wasn't EO in disguise. I was so ready to see EO again. Listen, everyone was like, "No, Maude, no, it's not happening. Stop it, no." And I'm like, "But it's just like." Aaron says, "I think it was the Archgovernor's wife who wanted him to win, and he just followed along." That's what he said. That's what he said to Darrow. He basically threw his wife under the bus. I don't know there. Who knows? Yes, Lisa, I know he snapped her neck, but like, oh my gosh, money can buy you a new spine, you know? Boop, boop, boop. It's all good. Mickey the Carver. I mean, Colleen says it seems like she had a falling out with her father a long time ago. Sevro doesn't seem to have much of a connection with his father either. Yeah. This relationship, it does sound like the Bolognas are a lot more family oriented though. It does sound like they have a much closer family. Vaden, you're so sassy. Vaden says, "Don't worry, in book 7 we'll find out it was EO all along." It's in the future. One new spine, please. Thank you, K Frito. Is that true, KP Dubs? Did you watch book club for nearly a year without reading any of the books? Is that true? And now you're actually quite a big reader.
Yeah, it's totally true. I mean, I was watching like your game streams and everything else, so I would just tune in whenever you were streaming.
Aww.
But yeah, totally true.
There you go. We got 10 minutes to everyone tell me what else are you reading? Who wants to tell me another book that they're reading? I'll go first. I read the Atlas 6. The Atlas 6. I just finished it today. Lisa, I think you had thoughts on the Atlas 6 because it was a bit of a TikTok kind of thing. I liked it. It was quite complex though for me. Tim.
Yeah, I was just wondering if it was going to be any good because it was so hyped, and then it was either everyone was loving it or the people who read it because of the hype were like, "Why is this hyped? I hate it."
I think it was
I didn't know.
If I may, and I realize that this is going against what I said earlier, 3.75. Nearly a 4. I didn't mind it.
Well, then maybe I'll try it then.
Yeah, I was slightly distracted listening to some of it, and there was too much going on. Tim, you've read a book that Colleen. Oh, I
haven't read it, but I just got delivered today, and I'm gonna start reading it.
And that's because Colleen had read it and sold it to you. That's great. Yep. That's on Community. Regards, Darren. Hello, buddy. I saw that you joined Fable too. Yay, everyone joined Fable. Desolation Called Peace by Arcady Martin. Whoa, what's that about? Avery, if you want your child to succeed, you have to risk them dying. Oh, wow. Whoa. True, though. Raising a kid as a sacrifice to society tends to hurt a relationship. Yeah. Well said. Oh, boy. Chris is reading Spellmonger books. Magical military fantasy novels. Oh. Thierry is finishing Sandman Act 2. Was surprised to hear Will Wheaton in the final chapters. Oh. Sprinkles is reading The Army of Darkness, Omnibus Part 1. Ooh. Nurashuka is The Postmortal. The Postmortal by Drew McGarry. Nick's reading Americana by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. One take. Lisa's just finished the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. Was it good?
Yeah, I really liked it. I know we have her like a duology by her, Laini Taylor on our group to be read list, the Strange the Dreamer duology. So I'm now more excited to read that later because I really like her writing and I got really into this series. So I think it's something that you will enjoy a lot, Maude.
Good. Thank you. That's what Libby's for. KP Dubs is like, I might need to reread Black Sun before Fevered Star since I remember nothing. Maybe we should do like a previously on Black Sun. I remember it. I loved it, probably though. You got 3 point of views. You've got the really cool female. I'm like pilot, soldier, no, captain. And then she kind of gets it on with the pre-god. Come on, is it not clicking into place for everyone? They got together, and then he went all assassin monster god and killed everyone. And then there was the temple leader, but then she was away, so she survived. Black Sun. Easy. Avery is still reading Anne Rice, halfway through The Queen of the Damned. Whoa. Toasted Poster is going to check out Six of Crows next. What's next month's book? Yes, we're doing Fevered Star, which is the book after Black Sun. Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I loved it. It's just very different fantasy, but I had a really fun time with it. There's great characters in there. So we're going to be continuing that on. So if you haven't started that, get Black Sun. We'll see you in Fevered Star. We might do the second half of next month to give people time if they need to read the book 1 to get into book 2 for that one. But definitely Toaster Poster, Six of Crows. It's so good. I've gotten our website editor, Amanda, onto it. She's loving it as well. Aaron just ordered The Hero and the Crown and its sequel, The Blue Sword by Robin McKinley. Haven't read them in forever and excited to read them again. What's The Hero and the Crown about?
It's sword and sorcery. It's about a princess whose name is Erin. It's just different spelling. Sounds fun to
Erin
read.
Or Aaron?
Yeah, Aerin.
Aaron.
So, yeah. Basically, she turns into a dragon hunter, and she finds a way of like creating like this fire resistant gel, so she doesn't die fighting dragons until she finds a giant behemoth dragon that.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds so cool. Here's a fun story. When I first moved to LA, I dated a very famous person for a bit. And he was like, I want to send you a car at the airport to pick you up. And I was like, no, thank you. I don't need that. And he's like, come on, let me do it. And I was like, I will accept the car if the driver holds a sign saying Dragon Hunter. Anyway, I got off the plane and there's this guy. It says Dragon Hunter. And I'm like, yay! So I like the sound of that. Dragon Hunters Unite. I was playing, I think, Dragon Age 2 or 3 a lot at that stage. And I was like, I just want to be hunting my dragons. I just want to hunt my dragons. I like the sound of that, though. Blummel's reading Vicksburg, Grant's campaign that broke the Confederacy. Have fun with that. Baden, you're reading World Mythology by Roy Willis. Just a general guide to tons of different cultures' myths. That's cool. What's a myth that you hadn't heard of? I'm putting you on the spot.
Oh god, so many myths. I don't remember them that well, but like I think the one recently is about like Celtic myths about like Cuchulainn. It's the one of our he's like their main superhero guy, and basically Cuchulainn, I think it is. How do you pronounce it? Basically, he's like their super like guy who basically just destroys everyone. Like he as a kid he went to like a castle for like a party or something, and then he had to. And as he was going in, he was told they were going to come there, and then they forgot about him. And so he goes in, like they're like hounds, their dogs attack him because they forget that he's supposed to come in. He ends up killing the dog, and then because he kills the dog, he puts himself in debt to the king essentially, and says, "Okay, well, because I killed your dog, I will now be your bodyguard." So I'm now your hound, and that's part of where his name comes from. Like basically Cuchulainn basically means Hound of Cuchulainn, which is the guy's. In this case, the Smith's name. His name is Cuchulainn. So that's how he starts, at least. So he gets his name.
Cuchulainn was the pronunciation.
Cuchulainn, okay. There we go.
But each your own. Cuchulainn.
All I was going to say is you myth all the shots you don't take.
Yes. Nice pun. That's everything, though. That story, at least.
Tass is reading Fevered Star, the book after Black Sun, which we did in November 2022. Correct. Oh, Thierry. Oh, yes?
I was just doing a little bit of research on the Yeah, on Black Sun and stuff, just to get myself caught up.
What
I
do you
have them
think?
both on Audible.
Mm.
I want to start Black Sun
There was
very
one narrator I
quickly.
didn't like in that.
Ooh,
Mm.
okay.
Mm.
I just haven't started yet, but that's kind of my goal for the next couple days to start on that and get all caught up.
How exciting. How did you find Red Rising? You liked it. You said it was a bit of a slow start, but then you threw the book a few times.
Oh yeah, no, I really liked it, and it's really hard not to start reading Golden Sun.
So Amanda and I, we were both on team binge for this one, but then we did a vote and everyone wanted to break it up, and it's like, fine. We need to be able to veto, surely.
Yeah, I can see that. But it also helps because it's at my place I'm moving to, so I physically don't have it with me, which is helping me not read it.
Oh, thank you, KP Dubs. You just gifted a sub to Dishonorable Labrador. That's very sweet. And earlier you gifted a sub to Duga. How wonderful. Thierry, actually, because Amanda asked everyone to do their fan casting, we were going to do a cool video. We're going to do a video of everyone's fan casts for like the main characters. We're going to put all the images together of who you guys would have thought that each character could have been, and we're going to put it in a reel, and one person did the assignment. One person contributed. Thierry, let's talk through who your fan cast are. You're the only one that did it. Who did you see as Darrow and Mustang and Cassius? Thierry, are you there? Thierry, are you there? You've unmuted, but are you talking? I can't hear you. Tim, I've been busy.
I was gonna do a fan cast, but I haven't had time.
Mr. Feeney
I was
says,
gonna have bonuses too. People that weren't on the list.
damn, you are up to 37 gift subs. There's
Okay,
not as
let's
much
try
as
this
Tim
again.
though. Oh, Thierry, yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so for Darrow, I had Glenn Powell.
Love it.
For EO, I had Sadie Sink.
Yep, I like it.
Mustang, Catherine McNamara.
Kat McNamara, yeah, I played D&D with her. She would be great.
Pax, I had Alexander Ludwig.
No, I still maintain he's Maori. But he's
Sevro is Richard Arman.
I liked that. I saw him in the 100. I thought he would be really good.
And for Cassius, I had Austin Butler.
I thought that was really well done too. I see Austin in there no matter what somehow. But yeah, the pretty perfect Cassius. Was that the goal, to beat Tim? Colleen says, I could have kept reading the Red Rising trilogy once I finished Red Rising. I have been waiting to read Fevered Star with the book club though. Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, to pick up that name you casually dropped, Maude. Meow. It's a cat. Nurashuka's gifted a sub to Dark Said. Dishonorable Labrador, you just followed. Welcome. Welcome. Had to get gifted a sub to follow. I understand. Everyone's... Oh, hold on. I wanted to read out. Mr. Feeney says, anyone else here that they're doing a graphic audio version of Red Rising? It came out today. Timing is terrible. But now that we've finished the book, if you would like to go back and buy this... hold on. Are we talking about a graphic audio? Yeah. So it's like a full cast. It's got sounds and everything. It's like fully kitted out. It came out today, which is really, really cool. So if you ever wanted to do a reread, I would like to do it for the second and third book. Who knows if they're coming out anytime soon, but like having it like that, because I know Thierry, you like Sandman because it's full cast and it sounds amazing. I would like to do that. You know what, Thierry? I might do a little bit of fan casting as well. If we can get like 1 or 2 other people doing it, we can make a reel. That would be real cool. Everyone just gave so many great excuses though. That's time. Thanks everyone. Whee!
It'd be great for next week to show the author.
Wouldn't it just? Wouldn't it just? Pierce, who decided to kill Pax and says it's canon because he pulled her name out of a hat. I'm mad about that. Mad.
best part about being the QA next week is that it's the day before my birthday.
Oh,
So
is
that'll be
it?
fun.
You're very
Yeah.
welcome for your birthday present. Hey, members, let's get those questions to Pierce Brown happening in the show chat. Because we got an hour. We got an hour of power with Pierce. We gotta make it count. His hat's got some pretty cool names in it. Good night, everyone. Plus, it made no sense. What? What made no sense, Vaden? What made
Pax
no
dying,
It
and
made
also
no
the
sense.
whole. Yeah, it made
It
no
made,
sense at all.
it made no sense. We're mad. I will
You could tell them that.
I
You could tell
will
them that alone lost, dropped the score like 0.5 minimum.
100%. I'm gonna rip them apart. A raid's been created. Drop them by. Drop some bombs. See you next week for some cool Q&A. And then new book. And then back to the series. Oh my god, I can't wait to get back. Thank you, everyone. Great chat. Kate was right. Enjoy the raid. Failed save raid time. Exactly. Night, everyone. Right now.